What's up guys, MrVerry aka Adronus here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the Yalahar Alchemist quarter. And there's a pretty wide variety of creatures here, and there's also a few different spots that people like to hunt here, and wow, there's usually not swarms like this. Um, Usually someone's always botting here. I mean, there are some people who legitimately hunt here, but they're few and far between nowadays. But you can see that there's a bunch of mutated creatures in all the towers, which are better for lower levels. And then there's the Bog Raider spawn, which has demons, destroyers, plaguesmiths, plenty of tougher creatures, which is the main area I'll be showing today. So I'm going to see if I can get a bunch of them on me, so, you know, can use Rage of the Skies, try to deal as much damage as possible at once. And it looks like I got 5 so far. Yeah, that one's straggling. And that was a pretty decent hit for 1,111, I believe. So, gonna finish off the one standing and see if we get any loot. And I'm just gonna go ahead and circle all these holes and show each individual area, and then I will be going down, of course, each of them, and I will be showing the north area as well. Now, there's usually someone camping here, but I'm really happy that this time that I came there wasn't, because I've tried to record this area before, but most of the time I've ended up getting kicked out. So there's Nightmare Scions, as you can see. There's several of those around here, and there's a shitload of Bog Raiders, which, while they do drop nice loot, they only drop it, like, pretty rarely. So, and using avalanches, as that's what nightmares are most susceptible to. Nightmares are strong to all kinds of magic, except for holy. So, as a mage, you really don't have too many options. They are equally strong to fire and energy, and they are the least resistant to ice. So, took out that nightmare fairly quick. And usually knights of higher levels like to hunt here, because they can easily kill the Bog Raiders and it's fast experience, and the nightmares are cake for them too. And we got 2 nightmares, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some of my guild equipment on. And the best thing you can use on nightmares as a mage is explosions, by far, because they are not resistant to physical damage. And if you're a druid, you can replace this with Exori Moi Eco if you don't have explosions, but you're not going to be able to deal damage to both of them at the same time if you have multiple ones on you, which is a huge advantage to using Exori Moi Eco as a druid. And you can see there's some annoying ass spit nettles, but they're really of no concern. And yeah, there's pretty much just nightmares in this one. This is probably the easiest one. The next one I'm going to be doing has a demon, a plaguesmith, nightmares, nightmare scions, and of course Bog Raiders. And that was a nice explosion. Was able to hit the nightmare that was running and the one that was still attacking. So yeah, I'm glad to be back making Tibia videos, guys. I really didn't have much inspiration to do so for a little while, so I kinda took a break. And I think it was actually needed. But now I'm back and feeling pretty motivated, so the videos should keep rolling. And right now I'm trying to plan a special video for my 40th video, but I haven't quite decided what I want to do yet, so I don't know. If you guys have any ideas or any areas you would like to see for the 40th video, let me know. And that's any area. That doesn't have to be an area that I can go to alone, because I do have my guildmates, and we have a wide variety of vocations and levels, so we'll definitely be able to go to pretty much any area you ask to see. And switching spots with the Nightmare as he's at pretty low health. And I'm going to try to finish this one off with a great strike, and luckily I get him running. And here's more concentrated demonic bloods, which luckily I got strong mana pots rather than health pots. And there's a health pot, naturally. So here's the Plaguesmith, and it's good to put down an energy wall. I don't need one. I could just take his hits, but I would actually much rather use an energy wall. Like I've said before, walls are very, very nice when hunting on a sorcerer or a paladin. And for a knight, they can still be useful if you're dealing with a crowd and you want to only let a certain number of creatures come at you at once. And as I've said before, Plaguesmiths are quite weak to energy. And they're resistant against death, but SDs still deal pretty good damage to them, so I like using SDs on them. As they do have like 8,500 health, which is a lot. And they heal quite frequently, as you can see. And we get night legs. Nice. Happy with that early on. And since I'm going down to the demon, I've got to take off my earth equipment, as it'll make me much more susceptible to the fire damage. And I'm going to pot up a little bit. This isn't really the best spot to kill demons. It's kind of crowded, and there's not like a lot of running room, but I want to show the entire area, so I will kill him anyway. And of course you can use icicles or SDs. SDs are obviously more expensive, but you get the job done much quicker. And icicles you can probably profit more, although you're going to have to use more mana pots for healing. So it's arguable. I would actually like to test it sometime. I know the experience per hour is far better with SDs from personal experience. And Demon's almost down, so using Frigos to conserve SDs. Unfortunately, he's healing, and he's down. So, nothing special from him, but skin him real quick, and keep moving forward. So I've hunted in this area, like, I don't know, a lot, but it's, like I said, it is usually camped, so it's pretty difficult to find this area empty. I'm actually really surprised. But it is a good area, and if you can't handle it on your own, then maybe come here with like a small team of 2, depending on your level. And we get some more demonic blood, and luckily I seem to be hitting all strong mana pots with those, which is great. That just allows me to hunt longer, use less of my own pots. And looks like we got some respawn up here, which is fine by me. I'll use thunderstorms to drop the death blobs and the bog raiders simultaneously, and using explosions as they are very weak to physical. Be nice to get a paladin armor out of the bog raiders, but they drop it so rarely. And since I've dropped all the death blobs, I'm gonna revert to using explosions. And that Nightmare Scion is ready to run. Yeah. Nightmare Scions are very quick, just like Nightmares. So you gotta stay on them, and they can also kinda lynch you. Like, if you've ever been to the cemetery quarter, there is so many nightmares there, and it's very easy to get ganged up on by a shitload. I've even been uncomfortable with how many I've gotten on me. I've gotten like 3 nightmares and like 2 or 3 scions on me, and that can combo me in one hit if they, you know, get it in right. So, definitely not the most comfortable. nope, there's no more nightmares here. Oh, and I accidentally used a Grand Flam. Never use fire on them. As you just saw, they're actually very, very strong to fire. And I think this is the Plaguesmith floor, and it is. So there's two here, so I'm gonna use energy walls in order to put one on the other side and one on my side. And then I just kind of use this to run him. It works pretty well. You don't really need a wall, and if you put a wall in here, it would just make it so he couldn't get to you, which would therefore make it even worse to run him. And those chairs are kind of getting in my way, so I'm going to throw them in the poison. And start SDing the plague, drop him a little quicker, you know. And I'm good to throw on my gill legs again here. I forgot to do that after the demon, but and as I've said before, gill legs are really, really nice because they're the only legs in the game that actually give you an extra magic level. So if you're trying to deal the maximum amount of damage you can, you want to add gill legs to your set for sure. And it looks like that's the, yep, that was the main death blob, the one that survived the thunderstorms. Naturally. And down the stairs, there's another two Plaguesmiths. So you can see how this would be a pretty decent area for a team of like a level 100 and maybe 15 knight. I mean, you could be lower because knights have such high health, but just to be safe with two plagues here and stuff. And, you know, like a level 80 plus druid, and it would probably be a pretty decent hunt. And plagues are really great on loot most of the time. While they don't have a really high chance of, they do have a high chance of dropping night legs, but they don't have a really high chance of dropping steel boots. They have like a 1% chance, which is fairly decent. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And I'm trying to pull this one plague through the energy here, but he's being a bit of a dum-dum and just kind of walking around. Alright, got him. And mixing my SDs with my strong energy strike. I would say one of the best vocations to take out plagues is Paladins, as they are quite weak to holy. And they're kind of spongy. They take pretty decent damage from physical damage, too. And with any luck, we'll get a pair of steel boots, but instead I'm going to keep getting axe rings, which are completely useless to me. And where did that plague go? Oh, there he is. He was playing hide-and-go-seek, I guess. And in the next one I'm going to be doing, I think the next one, there's going to be nightmares, and the floor right above this on this one, the equivalent of this on the next one, has one nightmare and one destroyer, and then under that there's two destroyers. And destroyers are very, very similar to behemoths, not only in their loot list, but the attacks they use. They both throw boulders, they both have very high melee, they're both weak to ice, but the catch is behemoths are actually weak to death, whereas destroyers are a little strong to death, but it's still easier to bring them down with SDs than it is icicles. And get another pair of night legs. Not bad for only killing 4 plagues, or actually 5. Forgot about the first one. How could I? He dropped me night legs. And just killing the stuff on my way back up. Might as well. And of course that nightmare runs right as I'm about to use an explosion on him. And you'll see that the nightmares that I've been killing, both the scions and the regular nightmares, drop scythe legs, which is one of their, and Essences of Bad Dreams. Essences of a Bad Dream are worth like 330 or something, and the Scythe Legs are worth 450. So those are like their prize creature product, and quite nice actually. Definitely can make a hunt that isn't so profitable become profitable. And I backed myself in this corner so I could use explosions on all of them at once, and dropped them all at once. That's nice. No loot, but like I said, it takes a long time to get loot off Bog Raiders. It really does. And it's nice that Bog Raiders don't run away, because if they did, you could only imagine what it would have been like when I used Rage of the Skies earlier. I would have had to chase all of them down individually, and would have been much more of a pain in the ass than just thunderstorming. And this one isn't the Destroyer and Nightmare one. This is actually another Plaguesmith one. And I'm just going to let myself get kind of cornered here. Just heal up while using, area of effect. And that Mutated Tiger just went invisible, which they do. Not very often, but they do. And Mutated Tigers actually drop life rings like really frequently, which is probably one of my favorite things about them. And I think this is a, yep, this is the another single Plaguesmith. And you really don't need to use walls here. You can see that luckily Sipsoft decided to add natural walls rather than the energy walls you have to shoot. While you can shoot an energy wall and make it so he's not going to get to you as much, you don't have to. And as I don't have to, I'm not going to waste it. So I was just using some energy spells to conserve some of my SDs. And he's going to take off because he's hurting. And club ring. Either it's a club ring or an axe ring, And there's 2 plagues down here, so you definitely do not want 2 plagues on you at once, as they are pretty rough creatures. As you can see, they just beat the shit out of me pretty quick. So I'm going to just have them both start running around this, and just keep one close to me and the other on the other side. And I can use thunderstorms and also my E-Wave to make this a little easier. And just focus on healing, of course, while doing this. And it's nice that you can shoot through all the gates here, because you can set up, I'm sure there's a better way to set up a wall, but this isn't too bad, so I'm going to go with this and just keep doing the method I'm doing now. And I just opened that gate on accident, and I didn't even realize, I totally forgot I could do that. So that plague just ran through. I was wondering how he just got through that wall, but that makes sense. So luckily I got that energy wave off in time and managed to hit both of them. And they're both on me, but that one is hurting, so he's running, and the wall makes it so he's got nowhere to run, so just kind of hangs out by the wall. And actually you can't shoot through the gates. It felt like you could, but you can't. And this one's about dead too. One more SD and he should be fleeing. A little bit more, but they heal. You can't always know exactly how fast you're going to drop them. And another silver brooch, which really isn't much, only 150 gold, but hey, it's something, so can't complain with that. And the last area to show in this spot is the one to the north. And then I'm going to be showing the north region, which houses a ton of Mutated Tigers, a decent amount of Bog Raiders, and some Nightmares, some Brain Deaths, Nightmare Scions. There's a you know, a decent variety of creatures, just like there is here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So I pop back up, because I feel like dropping this Bog Raider. Might as well. And we get a Spring Sprout Rod, finally some loot from the Bog Raider, and I think that's the first Boggy Dreads, too. So there should be a Nightmare Scion down here, and I thought there was 2 Bog Raiders. Yes, there is. So I'm going to go in a corner so that I can get all 3 on me, and use explosions, per usual. And he's going to take off, so I pick him off real quick with my great Flame Strike. Now that I got that Spring Sprout Rod, the fucking Bog Raiders are going to go on a boycott again. And there should be 1 Nightmare down here, accompanying some Bog Raiders. And using explosions, I think I'm going to switch to avalanches so I can deal damage to all of them, not just the ones close to me. And since I dropped that one, I switch back to explosions, and that Nightmare is going to start running, so I switch spots with him and drop him. And get 1 strong mana potion, 1 strong health potion, Essence of a Bad Dream. And this next floor has a Destroyer and a Nightmare. So since there's a Destroyer, I'm switching out to my Flame, so I can actually deal damage. And the best tactic here, I find, is just to set up a wall right there, like that. And then grab whichever one you want. I typically grab the Nightmare and pull him across, as he's got the weaker melee. And you can run the Destroyer out there after you kill him. Well, after you kill the Nightmare, of course. And Demonic Essence, nice. Like I've said, that's always a fast 1k. And this isn't the best running spot. If you want to throw down a poison wall, you can, which will make this a little less painful, a little less pot use. But since I'm going to be using SDs for the majority of it, I really don't mind, and I don't see a need to use it. And on the next floor here, there is 2 Destroyers. So using avalanches, as they are quite susceptible to ice, as I said earlier, so might as well deal damage to both of them at the same time. And the poison wall is nice because it makes them kind of wander around for a second. And Destroyers are strong to fire, but not too bad, so it's worth having my Wand of Everblazing on, because I get a magic level boost, so my other attacks are dealing more damage, and I can heal for more. And there's also a couple crates around here where you can find stuff, like I just got 5 brown mushrooms from that one. You get different stuff at different times. You can also pull these levers and turn the mutated rat, or the rat into a mutated rat, and the orc into a Bog Raider. So that is this area. And now I'm going to be showing the north area. And the north area is better for lower levels to hunt in. That area, as you can see, is definitely for higher levels. You know, you really have to be able to handle several strong creatures at once. And this is probably one of the most popular Bog Raider spawns. I know there's one in Edron, but it's kinda small and cramped together in a cave. And the Mutated Tiger is to the north here. Yep. So bringing all the Bog Raiders in so I can get them all. And they're all down. And Mutated Tigers are weak to death damage, which I find kind of odd since the mutated humans are completely immune to death. And I think mutated bats are immune to death too. I want to say they are, but I don't know for sure. So the Mutated Tigers are kind of along the edges of this area. And there's like several holes down in this area, and I actually just skipped one, so I'm glad I saw that because it reminded me. And they all have a wide variety of different creatures, and this one was actually added somewhat recently, not super, but recent enough, and you can see it's just a fairly large Mutated Tiger spawn. And Mutated Tigers are, like, comparable to dragons. They're really not that strong. And got a bunch of them fleeing, so just picking them off. Definitely worth killing these. They do drop like glorious axes and stuff occasionally, but like I said, my favorite thing about them is the amount of life rings they drop. And I'm surprised that I know that they wouldn't drop one like this frequently, but usually I've got pretty good luck with them and end up looting a few life rings quickly. And that one's down, so I'm going to go back to the hole I missed, which is right near the entrance. And there are 2 brain deaths down the first hole, and then down the next hole is 2 nightmare scions. So brain deaths are very weak to fire and are the undead version of bone lords. But first, I want to deal with all the death blobs so they're not in my way while I'm taking on the brain deaths. And you can see I just dealt 503 damage to that brain death with my strong flame strike, and you can see how very weak to fire they are. And we get a piece of dead brain. It's like 420 gold. And 2 scions, so we'll just drop them with explosions. Kind of par for the course. And he's about to run, so we'll finish him off. And I'm switching spots with this one so that I kind of had him in the corner, but not quite. And you can see I just got a crate there, but it didn't give me anything. Found nothing useful. That's one of the things that happens when you look in those crates. You saw earlier I got brown mushrooms. Occasionally they'll give you potions, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and get as many Bog Raiders on me as I can right here because I'd like to use Rage of the Skies as they are, like I said, very weak to energy damage. And there's a hole here. So I guess this should be enough. And I get, nice, not a bad hit, 1,163. And then I finish him off with a explosion. And some great health potions. Those sell decently in the market. Definitely worth picking up regardless of your vocation. And there's like 3 Bog Raiders down here. And then once I get to the next area, or right down, there is, I believe, like 2 or 3 Nightmare Scions, 2 or 3 Bog Raiders, and a bunch of Death Blobs. And it's good to take out the Death Blobs first, because while Death Blobs seem, you know, pretty weak and like they're not too much of a threat, they do add on to the damage you take when you're surrounded by creatures like that. And so, switching positions so that the Scion doesn't get away from me. And you can see the other 2 Scions run out side by side. And they're both going to be running, so did a thunderstorm, which luckily spanned across this room and hit both of them. And I guess there is no Bog Raiders down here. I thought there was, but guess not. And I'm going to throw my Gilgoogle on, as it gives me more protection to earth, and everything around here really uses earth damage, so. And now that I've got a little bit to the next hole, I'm going to get as many Bog Raiders on me as I can. And there's a tiger. We'll get him too, why not? I'm going to run a little bit south of the hole and then backtrack. See if I can get a few more on me. And I do. And using Rage of the Skies. And now just healing, as I have a shitload of creatures on me. And using Thunderstorms. And another Spring Sprout Rod, lucky enough. And heading back north to do this hole. Definitely a good area to hunt. I see Paladins here a lot, as Bog Raiders are very weak to physical damage, and they're also weak to Holy. So definitely a good Paladin spot. And just using Thunderstorms to drop the group. And there's a lone survivor. And you can see they drop a pretty decent amount of gold, and you're gonna loot gold on just about every one, but getting the rares, as you can see from how many I've killed in this video, is a little less frequent. I'm gonna use Rage of the Skies again, which is very effective with these. And the Thunderstorm finishes the group off. And just gold. Just gold. I was hoping for Paladin armor, as anyone who's hunting Bog Raiders and knows how rarely they drop it is. And yep, there's one more hole to show, and I'm going to show the rest of the landscape too, and that tiger. Luckily they only go invisible for a really short period, so just so long as you watch where he was running, or if he was running towards you, then you don't really have to worry, but if they're running away, just watch where they're running and keep a beat on them and you'll be fine. And using Rage of the Skies again, just to deal as much damage as possible. And now Thunderstorms to finish the group off. And that Mutated Tiger is just hugging that. And they drop Sabertooths occasionally too, which is a good creature product. I think it's worth around like 450. It's not exactly that, but I know it's around that. And I got a good bit of experience from doing this area too. I'm only 14% to 220 now, so although I'm going to end the video after I show this next spot, I will definitely be going and getting 220 right after. Looking forward to that. Oops. Yeah, I need to get a new mouse. This mouse is like very old, and due to that, when I click on something, it always double clicks unless I hold it down hard. So occasionally when you see me like target something and then I untarget it immediately, that's because I only clicked once and it still registered it as 2 clicks and therefore made it so I'm not targeting it. So I'm getting all 3 Nightmare Scions and just going to use explosions. And on the floor below this is 3 Nightmares, which 3 Nightmare Scions is much easier than 3 Nightmares is. 3 Nightmares are quite rough in a group. They can combo for near my full health, and I try to deal with 1, 2 at a time max, because otherwise it can be very dangerous. And I'm gonna switch some of my equipment, getting death protection as well as earth protection, which is very helpful against nightmares. and got 2 right now, which is fine by me. 2 is a good number. However, even though it seems like you only have 2 on you here, you have to be very careful, as nightmares that are out of screen can still use their death attack, and they can still use their poison bomb. So, getting this nightmare to red and get him to run away. And there should be one more to the north here. And here he is. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for watching. And of course, if you did enjoy it, please leave a like, comment with any feedback, or even if you just want to leave me a message. I appreciate all the comments. I do read them all, and I try to respond to a decent amount of them. And I enjoy them quite thoroughly. So, please, if you feel so obligated to leave me one, then do so. And subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the content I produce and you haven't subscribed already. But, once again, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video.